back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Sarika. Do not forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, leave a comment, share with all your friends, because today I am actually doing a highly requested video. Like, all my friends have been asking me to make like a how I edit my photos for Instagram video. So I am excited to kind of show you some tips and tricks on the apps that I use and the settings that I have them on to make my Instagram pictures look really high quality and professional. Just some background information, like I used to be very self-conscious about taking pictures. I used to hate taking photos because I hated how I looked. And over time, I've come to learn different things that work for me and that make my pictures look the best that they can. Now, before I start, I do not edit my pictures to the point where I don't look like myself. That's just something I don't do. So this is really just going to be like enhancing my features and very small things that I do to make the picture itself look more vibrant. Maybe like fix very minor blemishes. But yeah, I just wanted to make that disclaimer, like my pictures are not altered to the point where like I don't look like myself. Okay, so I'm gonna be looking down at my phone because I'm gonna do a screen record on my phone, and you can see like the apps that I use and watch me edit. Just for background information, that I use two cameras when taking my photos. I either use my iPhone, and I have an iPhone 12 Pro, so it's pretty old, but the camera is okay. And then I have like my professional camera, what I usually film my YouTube videos on, and that's the Canon T7i. So the picture I'm using today is or was taken on my Canon, and the time of year was summer. It was done a couple months ago. It was a bright day. Cool. First, I'm just gonna talk about the apps that I use. I have three main apps that I use to edit my pictures, and I use them for different things. So I'm showing you like my photo and video like section on my phone. I have so many like apps here, but I actually don't really use them. So for example, like VSCO I don't use. I used to use it when I was in university. I don't use it anymore. Snow, I don't even know what that is. So the main apps that I use are Facetune, Airbrush, and then Lightroom. So I pay for Facetune, I think, because I literally edit all the time. Like, this is something that I do. So I was like, well, might as well just pay for some of the features that I want. Lightroom and Airbrush I use for free, and I got it on the App Store, so you should be able to access it there. Okay, so we're gonna get started. So the first app that I use is Facetune. And I know that people kind of use Facetune for very like out there edits. As I said, I really try not to do anything like that. So I firstly like favorite pictures that I like of myself. So I'll usually, I think most people know this, that whenever you take a picture, you're gonna take several. So I spend time like favoriting my pictures that I like the most. So I have a variety of things to work from. So this one that I'm gonna edit, I took in the summer. All right, so it's a pretty good base. Like, I really like how this picture came out. And this is the raw image. So what I use Facetune for is to like fix minor blemishes. That's what I use Facetune for. So first thing that I noticed, I'm always gonna start with my face. So I click the retouch, and I'll kind of like zoom in. So you can kind of see that like my hairline, where like my wig starts, you can kind of tell that it starts there. In person, it doesn't really look like that. So I take the heal tool and I kind of just like heal out that section, so you can't really see where it starts. Cool. Then I always zoom out after every edit to make sure it doesn't look too obvious. Amazing. Then I zoom back in. The next thing I'm gonna do is, I really like how my eyelashes look, and I love a really black eyeline, so I click paint. and then I select paint because they have different options here. I select paint and I click black, and I do like a very quick like swipe over my eye line. And then I click the check mark because I like to do it one at a time, because sometimes if you try and move like from one eye to the other, you with the paint tool open, you accidentally put the paint all over your face. So then I'm gonna do my other eye, and I only do the eye line because my lashes are great, so I don't really need to do that. So it's looking really good so far. And then I go in again. Yeah, I literally zoom out every time I make an edit because I have to make sure it doesn't look crazy. Like right here, I have like a pimple. That's something that I want to get rid of. Retouch, I do heal, and I can get rid of it, right? It looks good, so it looks pretty good. Then I'm going to use the smoothener tool on my face. I usually do it like on my cheeks, chin, and then like this part of my forehead, so most of my face, but I do not like when it's too strong. So I'll do that, and then here. Amazing. So really good. I think it looks good. I don't look like a different person. I like to check, they have a little tool at the bottom right-hand corner where you can click to see the before and after. I always do that to make sure I don't look totally different. So just checking. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, I don't love my contour here. It's pretty strong. I do kind of go hard with my nose contour. So I smoothen just like the part where it transitions into my under eye, so that it looks less like stark, like less of a stark contrast. Okay, I like that. All right, and now I'm gonna go on to my body. I don't really do much with my body. I personally am kind of self-conscious about like the veins in my arms. I get that from my dad and I don't love them in pictures. So I picked one where you could see me do it. So I used the, actually for this one, I used the patch tool. And by the way, the patch tool is super, super useful because they have a vanish section. It's really useful for getting like, if you have someone in your background that you're just like, this person's ruining my picture, photobombing, you can get rid of them. So I might just like vanish like this vein, for example. Here are my knuckles. And again, it's like really not bad, so I'm not gonna do much. Amazing. Cool. I'm probably going to just smoothen my stomach. Yeah, you can kind of see it's pretty textured. I like to reduce it a bit because obviously a person's stomach is not naturally airbrushed. So I kind of put it to like half or a little bit more than half. Amazing. I'm gonna do the same for my arms. I did have on like body shimmer, and I find when I put on like, when I do the smoothing tool, I can see it more than when I don't have it. Okay, so I'm gonna check before and after. Amazing. Doesn't look too different, doesn't look too crazy. I do sometimes feel self-conscious about my underarms, so I am going to smoothen it a little bit, just the area there. But obviously I have darker underarms, so I'm not trying to change that. Amazing. So I think, sorry, I'm just smoothing my elbows a bit. I think I'm done with Facetune, and then I go ahead and save. And amazing. So now it's saved. So that's the first step of my editing. So I literally use Facetune just for minor blemishes. So that's the first step. So the next step that I take when I'm editing my photos is I go into Lightroom. This is my second step, because Lightroom, for some reason, it doesn't work when you have the raw image. So you have to do some sort of edit before you enter it into Lightroom. I don't know if that's because I don't pay for the premium or whatever. So I have now opened my photo in Lightroom, and I know that Lightroom kind of looks intimidating, but I am definitely a beginner when it comes to editing on Lightroom. So I'm gonna just show you some tips and tricks that you can use. The reason why I use Lightroom is because I like to use it to edit the entire photo. And what I mean by that is I like to usually either make the photo more vibrant if it's kind of dull in terms of the colors, the saturation, or sometimes it's like too bright. Maybe there's too much light in the photo and I want to kind of dim it a bit. So for this one, it's definitely kind of dim. I think that I can make the colors brighter. And so what I usually start with is the auto setting. And that's how much of a beginner I am. I never kind of start from scratch. I click auto. There you go. And you can kind of see that the colors have kind of become more vibrant and like it just looks overall much more professional. Amazing. And this is kind of what it does. It changes the exposure, so it made it brighter. It changes the contrast, highlights, shadows, and then the various shades. Cool. I'm good with this, but sometimes I might make slight changes. So maybe I want it to be a little bit more exposed. So I'll leave it on +50, even though the auto suggested +33. Then I go into color, and you'll see like 4 things: temperature, tint, vibrance, and saturation. I usually like to lean my temperature to the warmer side when it's like a summer photo. When it's like a fall photo, I lean it more to like the cooler side because it usually fits the coolness of the environment in fall. Whereas when it's brighter and warmer outside, I like a warmer look. So I'm gonna leave it towards like +5, I think. That's good. And then I'm okay with the vibrance and the saturation that the auto selected. Then I go into color mix. And this is where you can actually modify the saturation and the brightness of specific colors in your photo. So in my photo, it's very overwhelmingly green. So I'm gonna select green and I'm going to make it more saturated so that it looks really green in the background. And I just find, and I might even deepen the hue of the green so it looks even more green. I just find that editing specific colors in your photo will make it look more professional, right? And I know that a professional camera took this photo, but even when I take photos on my iPhone and I use Lightroom, change the colors, game changer. On Lightroom, if you hold down the photo, you get to see what it looked like before. So I'm doing that right now. You can see it's pretty like dull. And then I changed it and now it's brighter. Again, I haven't changed anything about how I look, myself, but enhancing the surroundings of a photo really does so much for it. So I literally think I am done with Lightroom. The last app that I use is Airbrush. And so for Facetune, I use to fix like small blemishes, usually at the very detailed level. Lightroom is for like fixing the overall environment and background of my photos. And then Airbrush is just to enhance the makeup that I'm wearing. So I'm going to pick my photo. I do not want AI. Okay, so literally the only thing I do in Airbrush is modify my makeup. Modify my makeup. I usually love doing this, especially when my makeup is more toned down, which it usually is, to be honest. So I don't pay for premium airbrush or whatever, so I just have favorites that I use. But you can kind of go through the different ones here. Favorites. I like subtle because, again, I do not like to look like a different person. Obviously, it's put it to a specific thing. I'm just gonna reduce it to like, what is that? 33%. I feel like that's good. Again, all of these tools have some button that you can press to see what it looks like before and after. So like literally you can barely see the difference. Perfect. So maybe I'll actually increase it to 40. Amazing. So I want kind of like my blush to be more enhanced, really. I think the blush is the prettiest part of the makeup, and that's it. That's literally like mostly what I do when I'm editing my photos. And now I'll kind of show you the before and after. So this was the picture before, and then this is the picture after. So I personally prefer the after. I don't know if you guys kind of like the raw version more. My editing like is pretty simple, and I hope that it helps someone out there if they're like trying to get into editing photos. And again, the key is enhance, do not alter. Like, don't change your features. There are other things that you can like use Lightroom and Facetune and Airbrush for. For example, I used Facetune to essentially like take out the blemishes of paint that was on a wall that I was sitting in front of. So I'll try and show you the original picture, and I used Facetune and I used that vanish tool to kind of get rid of those white splotches to make the paint look more consistent. But I'm like one of those people that try and look at the details in a photo. So maybe someone else might not have felt like they needed to edit the paint on a wall, but that's something that I want to do. But those are the 3 apps that I use, and those are some of the things that I do to make my photos look more professional. As I've gotten more experience with taking photos, I know what I like, I know how to pose, and I would suggest even practicing posing if that's something you feel like awkward doing, or you're not really sure, you don't know what to do with your arms, or like what to do with your bag if you're holding one. I would just practice in the mirror. And I kind of do test shots. So I will take a couple of shots in front of one background and I will look at it. So I'll take 1 or 2, and then I will be like, I don't like how the light looks, and I don't like how background looks, so then I will go somewhere else. And I do that a couple times before I find the perfect background, because what I don't want is to take 100 photos in front of a background, look at them, and they all kind of look terrible. So I don't really want to waste time like that. So I've learned to really just find a background before I even dedicate time to taking photos. And I think that you will eventually, if this is something you want to do, like learning how to take photos, edit your photos, you will learn very soon. Like, I now know when I look at a photo and I look at the raw photo, I'll know like, oh, I can definitely fix the lighting here, or I can fix the colors, so it's fine. I can take photos in front of this background even though it doesn't look great right now. But there's sometimes like it's just so bad, like the background and the colors and the lights in the photo, that you know that it's like beyond editing. Yeah, so those are just kind of like my tips and tricks for how to edit a photo for Instagram, for your social media, to make it look the best that it can. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.